got to hear a speech before you have dinner. This is terrible. But I will try to be kind and remember, as I try to speak to your hearts and influence your minds, remember also your stomachs. Dear friends of the Gandhi Society, what an honor it is for me to be here tonight with a community that has enriched my life for so many years. And to be here on this occasion of the beginning of the 150th anniversary of the Mahatma. This is a moment that we should cherish. I come to you tonight as a Gandhian, though I am not worthy to walk in the Manhattan steps. I have been deeply influenced. He has taught me the power of nonviolent protest against injustices. And all my political career is now rather long. I have dissented from the anti-humanitarian policies of waging war in the name of peace. So I want to tell you, on the eve of my 90th birthday, I am not stopping. I have come here tonight to urge us in Gandhi's name to kindle the flame of hope for peace with justice, and never let it be extinguished, no matter the bizarre conduct of modern-day politics. Gandhi's relentless pursuit of social justice awakened my hopes that society can be organized to demand an end to war. And there are many reasons to express that hope, and in doing so, that is my tribute to the Mahatma. I was a young journalist when I first went to India in 1963, traveled around the country for 4 weeks. And you know, the stark contrast that's there between opulence and starvation, sights and sounds, the crowds, the lush green beauty of Kerala, the noisy confusion of Mumbai, all suffused through my body as I tried to comprehend an ancient civilization so recently freed from colonial masters. So it's been a tremendous experience for me. I discovered India one night. I discovered the soul of India. I was traveling with my colleague through villages and got on the road, and we had a flat tire. It was at night. I thought, oh my goodness, we're going to be stranded here. And within 2 or 3 minutes, people from the surrounding villages came to greet us, take us into the village, give us tea, entertain us, and somebody fixed the tire, and we went on our way. And I discovered there the soul of India. Heartwarming, garrulous, and always questioning. So I've returned to India many times over the years, and I've had the privilege, High Commissioner, thank you so much for your remarks tonight. I was so touched by what you said. And I felt I couldn't even come here and speak after you spoke so movingly of the Mahatma. I was so proud of it. I've had the honor of meeting several prime ministers. I was in the United Nations in 1988 when Rajiv Gandhi, how I loved Rajiv Gandhi, and I knew his mother, Mrs. Indira Gandhi. She personally introduced me to Rajiv. I went to his house. He received me. Can you imagine? I'm a young parliamentarian at that time. So I have witnessed India's leadership in the non-aligned movement. And I'm going to tell you, sir, that I have long campaigned for India to receive a permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. The world needs India's leadership. And it certainly needs, sir, as you have so eloquently said tonight, Gandhi's wisdom. He had a holistic vision of peace. And UNESCO has done a great study on this. And they have paid tribute to Gandhi for his recognition, instinctively, that deprivation and impoverishment are the visible markers of an unjust and violent social order, and we have to do something about this. So what would Gandhi say today to the violence inflicted on the suffering people of Syria, Afghanistan, Yemen, Myanmar, Central Africa, and other war-torn places? What would Gandhi say today to the violence perpetrated on the poorest of the world while the rich line their pockets? What would Gandhi say today to the violence done to the planet by polluters and deniers of climate change? Well, we know that Gandhi would not be quiet. For the griefs and sorrows of the most vulnerable would be on his lips, in his protestations and driving his actions. Gandhi did not see the promised land, yet he never lost his vision. And we, my dear friends, must never lose our vision of a world without violence. That is the key beginning of the route to peace. And you mentioned about religion. As a Hindu, he fasted for Muslim rights. He was one with the Buddha and the ancient sages. And when he heard about Christianity, Gandhi said, well, he thought that was a pretty good idea. That ought to be tried sometime. Exactly. So, like St. Thomas More, Gandhi was a man for all seasons. So I've asked myself often, what would Gandhi do today to address the violence of our time? What would he do for the refugees and exploited? How would he deal with nuclear weapons? How would he cure the violence against Mother Earth? Well, I don't think that Gandhi, valiant a figure as he was, would try to do it alone. Not in today's globalized world when everything is interconnected and borders don't mean anything, and the whole world has now become so complicated. So much as I revere a Mahatma, I doubt that even he, acting singularly, it could overcome the systemic assaults on human life today. And therefore I am convinced that Gandhi would look to and be involved with the United Nations as the only institution that embraces all of humanity in a collective effort to build peace and a culture of peace, and then a right to peace. That is the direction the world is moving in, the headlines of the day to the contrary notwithstanding. We have to be able to see beyond today, to look to tomorrow, confident that we have established institutions centering around the United Nations that need to be supported and strengthened, especially today, when this so-called populist nationalism is rearing its ugly head and challenging the very idea of international law. I told you that I would be brief today, but in this speech I'm giving, but it's difficult. However, I am going to be brief, but it doesn't reduce how I feel about some countries and what they are doing to ignore the need to live by international law. And so the United Nations and its pillars, economic and social development, human rights, arms control and disarmament, the environment, these pillars of our human security agenda, that's what the United Nations stands for. So Gandhi, some people think that Gandhi got out of fashion. But our world has become too complicated for the days of living in the ashram. Well, I think it's the reverse. And if you examine, there are 17 sustainable development goals the United Nations has set out to eradicate the worst forms of poverty by the year 2030. It's called the 2030 Agenda. 17 goals. I can't even begin to talk about that tonight. Just one of the goals, goal 16, says to aim to foster peaceful, just, and inclusive societies free from fear and violence. So it sets targets for reducing violence in all countries. So that can be traced back to Gandhi's holistic vision and his activism and his work. And of course, as we referred to earlier, other movements have developed from Gandhi, and certainly Martin Luther King Jr. and the Civil Rights Movement, Nelson Mandela. I mean, there's a long list of wonderful people who have made our world a better place, and they have done so inspired by Gandhi. Gandhi lives. Never doubt it. Go past the headlines of the day and look to tomorrow. So I think finally that Gandhi would be, if we were fortunate enough to have him in our midst, he would be encouraging us to work in our collective ways with the United Nations. The full value of the UN's work in preventing future wars may not be felt for years to come, but the groundwork for harmony, if not perfect reconciliation, is being laid outside the glare of TV cameras. I'll tell you how I improved my life this summer. I was feeling pretty down. And I think you probably can guess why. It's on the news, and certain people in certain countries. You know what I did? I decided one day I was not going to watch CNN news anymore. And after a few days of absenting myself from CNN, I started to feel better. And I got my hope back. So I don't watch these people anymore. Because they don't speak the language that resonates with me in my heart. And how I feel about the world and the possibilities and the strength and the goodness and the beauty of this world. I want to hear more about that. To strengthen my myself and strengthen you. Certainly provide a life for my grandchildren that can be safe from the horrors. So, Gandhi has helped me to not only to survive, but to thrive. And the culture of peace that the United Nations is now trying to build and leading to the resolution on the right to peace. This may come as news to some people. The United Nations in 2016 adopted a declaration on the right to peace. And I want to tell you that India voted for it. And there's a country that I'm pretty close to that voted against it. So I haven't got time to deal with all of that right now, but it allows me once more, in conclusion, to pay my respects to India. How I wish I could go back again. I've been there probably 15 times in my life. And I know this country. I have a lot of friends. Of course, a lot of my friends are in the Congress Party. I need some more friends in the BJP. But I'm going to go back. I hope I'll go back. I hope I'll have the strength to go back. I want to go back. I want to see India one more time. I want to be inspired. I want to go to Gandhi's shrine. I want to feel once more that vitalization that I got in my heart and in my mind when I was in Gandhi's presence. But you don't have to go to India to be in Gandhi's presence. Gandhi is present with us.